I just managed to fit a double bed, a 2-person office, a 6-person dining table, a 3-seater sofa, and a fully functioning kitchen all into an old and tiny 303 square foot studio apartment. Let me show you how. This studio apartment is located in Rotherhithe, London, which sits right between London's financial district and famous cultural landmarks like Tower Bridge in an incredibly central location. This type of apartment is known as a council flat, and this one belongs to Juan, who is a 26-year-old construction worker with big dreams of building a creative agency outside of his current day job, which he does out of this tiny apartment with his business partner. From the sketches and photos that Juan sent in, I translated the dimensions into an accurate 3D model using a popular and intuitive architectural modeling software called SketchUp, which allows me to quickly start getting a feel for the size and layout of the space right from the comfort of my desk setup. You enter this ground floor apartment through a solid timber door, which leads you past a separated bathroom and toilet on either side of the hallway, which is actually quite a common occurrence in older British homes like this one, and you might imagine that it's quite useful in some circumstances too. After passing a small closet on your right, this entryway brings you through to the main living area, which is one open room with a kitchen and tiny shallow cupboard in the corner, which currently houses the majority of Juan's wardrobe. As this is a relatively old council flat, it has a ton of quirks, like bizarre mismatched flooring, a very simply constructed wire glass partition, an extremely sparse and dysfunctional kitchen, and the cheapest possible electrical and plumbing fixtures you could possibly get your hands on. Despite facing a challenging childhood and a fair share of hardship over the past several years, Juan's keen to start making the most out of this space, as in the UK, he actually has what is known as right to buy from the government, once he's able to do so financially. Because of this, in the meantime, he needs this space as somewhere for both him and his business partner to work from, while also using it for Bible studies in the evenings, which he hosts and attends both in person and on Zoom, meaning he'll need a comfortable space for entertaining and a presentable background for video calls. And of course, as this is such a tiny space, my challenge is to maximize its utility as much as physically possible, all within a very tight budget of just 5 to 10k. As you can see, the existing kitchen layout is in absolute shambles, as it looks like Juan's been forced to place a fridge freezer in the only space that's available to him, with the only other spot being taken up by a washing machine, which is actually a pretty common place for it in many British kitchens. What this means is that he's ended up with a really dodgy hob setup, as there's next to no usable counter space in this awkward L-shaped layout. So by tearing out these existing cabinets and the shoddy wire glazed partition, it opens up the possibility of creating a much more efficient galley layout, which will maximize the functionality of all of the cabinets and countertop space, which is absolutely crucial in a small kitchen like this one. What this does is allow me to fit in all of the utilities that you could possibly need without having to move the existing plumbing and drainage connections, where this layout includes a proper induction hob, an integrated washer dryer, and a full sink with a ton of cabinetry above that's complete with a microwave oven. And as there's now an empty wall behind this can be used for a really clean and unobtrusive integrated fridge freezer with yet more storage cabinets above this. And as there's even more space next to this, I managed to also fit in an enormous pull-out pantry, which provides acres of accessible storage for things like cereals, spices, and other dry goods. Due to Juan's experience in construction, he is more than qualified to put together DIY kitchen cabinetry just like this, which along with affordable laminate worktops can make a new kitchen like this one a lot more affordable than you might think, which makes something like this a little bit of a no-brainer, as it massively ramps up the functionality of the apartment and it tends to increase a property's value too. Despite all of its quirks, one really nice thing about this apartment is that it's dual aspect, meaning that it has windows on more than one of its sides, which means that there's no shortage of natural light, especially in the main living area, where two generously sized southwest facing windows fill the space with light, which is only augmented by a really generous 8.5 foot high ceiling. Now, due to what looks to be something like an old chimney breast creating a focal point over on the left side of the room, it makes sense to place the sofa or the bed over on the right, where I chose to move and replace the old radiator that was in the way with a newer vertical model, which includes an integrated mirror, which helps to disguise an ugly necessity's presence in the room, whilst also providing some welcomed overlapping functionality and a really nice place for Juan to get dressed in the morning. Typically, when money is no object, wall beds with integrated sofas are my first choice for saving space in apartments like this one. However, they can get incredibly expensive and they can be quite laborious to secure and install to the walls and floor too, which makes them a little bit inaccessible for some people. Because of this, a much more budget-friendly and versatile option is pairing a daybed like IKEA's Fyristal with outdoor sofa cushions to make an incredibly stealthy yet functional option, as the mattress can be easily covered with something like a bedspread, and any bedding and pillows can be easily stored in boxes underneath the frame during the day. And this would disguise Juan's bed to look like a regular sofa, whilst giving it the hidden party trick of turning into a proper double bed at night. And also, because this type of bed stacks 2 single mattresses, you can also just put one on the floor in a pinch for guests who may have missed the last train home. Next, what I had to do is figure out a space for Juan to work from, where it makes the most sense to place his workspace against the opposite wall. Despite this perhaps being a little bit unnecessary, if Juan's budget can stretch, I would love to see him swap out his current display for a TV instead, which, due to improvements in display technology, could actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone, in creating an incredible work setup that utilizes his existing studio speakers for both work during the day and relaxation during the evening. Now, he could very easily keep his current dining table setup and his projector to create something very similar too. However, if he was to upgrade to a standing desk, this would provide less obtrusive legs for getting in and out of his workspace, and it would also provide the ability to lower it much further than a regular tabletop, making it both a reasonable height for viewing the TV from the sofa and also providing the option for the optimal ergonomic height for working. With the basics of sleep, work, and relaxation taken care of, entertaining guests was the next big task. So to do this, I realized a really clever and affordable IKEA hack could come into play, which puts their Norden table on 2-inch casters, which allows it to be freely wheeled around the room and opened up as necessary. As this happens to tuck really neatly right next to Juan's desk setup, it also provides an additional fold-up workspace for his business partner. However, this can also be wheeled into the center of the room to serve as a very capable 6-person dining or meeting table with a ton of handy drawers for storage too. Then, as this leaves a ton of space in the living area when it's not in use, stools could be used for drinks and books instead of a coffee table, which would also provide additional seating, where I would love to see Juan get creative in disguising these stools as side tables instead. But finally, despite functionality being arguably the most important part of the equation here, it is also important that a space makes you feel good too, as this can have a powerful effect on our mood and productivity, which is where color, texture, sound, and touch all come into play. So to wrap up this design, I added in a more appropriately sized 2x3 meter low pile area rug, which helps with comfort underfoot and acoustics in the room. I added in some cushions to introduce some softness, texture, and color, some Venetian blinds to allow Juan to easily manipulate the strong southwestern light throughout the day, some plants to add some life and improve indoor air quality and mood, and finally some new light fixtures to avoid the apartment's lighting becoming flat during the evenings. And after running this model through some architectural visualization software, it allowed me to bring this entire concept to life. Small changes can have a drastic impact on your well-being and lifestyle when it comes to small homes, and despite functionality and a limited budget being the driver behind a project like this one, it is completely possible to make a small space like this a beautiful place to live without having to make financial compromises. And by replacing items that waste often underutilized and expensive space with items that have overlapping functionality, These changes can make a huge difference to how a space is experienced and enjoyed, which can allow Juan to turn a space like this into his own little utopia that contributes towards the nurturing of his faith and relationships and the building of his dreams into reality. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it, and I am so sorry that it's been so long for me to make the next installment in this series. Now, I realize that I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to bring a tiny bit of my architectural expertise to you for free on this platform, and I know that I wouldn't be able to do this without all of you watching each episode, so thank you all so much. And if you like this video, chances are you are going to like today's sponsor, Bellroy, who are quite the space-saving magicians themselves in making better everyday products that we typically tend to have with us at all times. Now, you may have heard of Bellroy for their pocket bulge reducing wallets, where they cram unbelievable amounts of utility into a really tiny package, but they also apply this same innovative and quality focused approach to their cases, purses, bags and slings, which I personally use to carry around all of my camera gear in the smallest, most efficient and comfortable package that I've ever come across. And that's probably why Bellroy are always the first on my mind when I think about looking for gifts for friends and family. It also helps that they look great, they're built to last, and because they're a registered B Corp, they're sustainable too, which is why I'm super stoked that they've hooked us up with 10% off using the link down in the description. Anyway, make sure you go and check them out as they are absolutely incredible, and if you want to support my work, you can pick up the desktop wallpapers that you see in the background over on my website, which I'll also link in the description too. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon.